Start your engine.
In this edition, the top IndyCar drivers review their 1994 season. Nigel talks exclusively about IndyCars and Formula One. Famous faces around the Nazareth paddock. And on the airwaves, a familiar voice in unfamiliar surroundings.
What are they doing? 185 miles an hour down the straightaway, such as it is. This is absolutely sensational racing.
Well, making a very welcome guest appearance here at Nazareth, the two of the most famous voices of Formula One racing, the BBC's Murray Walker and, of course, Eurosport's John Watson. Murray, what do you think the significance is of Nigel's 2 years here in IndyCars?
Well, the significance is basically that he's absolutely transformed the European perception, and the British perception in particular, of Indy racing, because to be quite honest, there was mass ignorance of it in Europe before. Some of the big names were known, yes, some of the big circuits were known, yes, Indianapolis everybody knew about, but not many of the other circuits, teams and drivers. But because of the adulation, is about the only word I can use for Nigel, in general in Europe and in particular in Britain, when he came over to America, the interest was transferred. We now see it on television in Britain, which certainly didn't happen before, and just people know about it, people are interested in it. He, in my opinion, has made it a worldwide sport.
John, some of the critics back in Europe seem to think that at 41 maybe he's too old to run at the front in Grand Prix racing. What's your view?
Well, speaking as a sort of a senior 40-year-old, I have to say there's a lot of life left in Nigel Mansell. He's out there competing against guys that are in their early 20s and he's beating them. He's got masses of experience. He's got intelligence in a race car. That comes through experience. And therefore, I see no problem with age as a factor. Remember, Fangio retired from Formula One racing when he was 47. He won a championship at 46. There's a lot more mileage in Nigel Mansell, Formula One, or whichever form he chooses to race in.
Murray, what do you expect Nigel to achieve in the last 3 races of the 94 season?
Really, Damon Hill has got to be given preference by the Williams team in Spain and in Japan and in Australia. And by definition, that means to say that Nigel Mansell will have to defer to Damon Hill. And it's not in Nigel's nature to defer to anyone. Nigel is a racer, and like all of them, he wants to win. And it's going to be extraordinarily difficult for him to accept a situation where he can't win in order to enable Damon to have the maximum points. So I would expect, hopefully, Nigel being the provocative chap that he is, to see him racing with Damon Hill, making it very clear that he could get past and win if he wanted to, if he was allowed to, but not actually doing so. On a personal level, it is well known that I carry a considerable torch for Nigel wherever he goes. I like him as a man. I admire him enormously as a racing driver. And he's got something that is desperately lacking in Formula One at the present moment, and that's excitement and provocation. Wherever Nigel is, something is happening. A wheel nut is coming off, or a wheel is coming off, or he's getting involved with coming together with somebody. There is always something to be interested about with Nigel, and sadly that is not the case with most of them at the present moment. He's a showman, and that's what Formula One needs.
Let me put you both on the spot then. Will Nigel win one of the last 3 races this year, and if so, which one will it be?
One of the last 3 Grand Prix?
Yeah.
I think really it'll depend on what happens to Damon Hill. Williams' team have got to maximise their support for Damon. But let's say circumstances prevent Damon from being the winner, then it's a different issue. And I would expect Nigel to go 100% to win for the team, but also for himself.
Murray?
Nigel Mansell will win the Australian Grand Prix.
IndyCar's top drivers review their 1994 season, starting with the new champion, Alan. 8 wins so far. He'll be with Penske next year, but first, reflections on winning his second title.
You know, as the season went on, you know, it just, it was really great working with this whole race team. I mean, they're the ones that have done it for me, and so I really owe it to them. And for an owner to show that much confidence in me is, you know, none had done that prior. So it's great that he had that much confidence, and I thank him.
The elder statesman of IndyCar racing, Emerson Fittipaldi, is 47, but he'll continue with Penske in 1995. Only 1 win this year at Phoenix, but he seems satisfied.
Well, I think for me it was a great season. I had some, you know, like Indianapolis, I crashed. Long Beach, I broke the gearbox. And, you know, New Hampshire, good one. I blitzed the front tire. I think I lost 3 good wins that I could have had. But otherwise, it's been a fantastic season for myself, for Alonso Jr., a very special season for the whole Marlboro team, Penske.
The third member of the Penske Dream Team, Canadian Paul Tracy, who's been testing for Benetton recently. A move soon to Formula One seems unlikely, but a switch to Newman Haas a possibility after a good second half to the season.
Well, I think it's been pretty good. It's been up and down, but I wish I had have got the season started quicker and established myself earlier. But you know, we're coming around, and from half season on, we've been right there in the thick of everything.
Former IndyCar champion Michael Andretti returned from an unsuccessful spell with McLaren in Formula One last year. He won immediately in Australia and later at Toronto, but was never a real championship contender.
Frustrating, I think, is the best way to put it. Some places we unload, we do really well, and other places we're just totally out of the ballpark, and we just can't figure it out. It's part of it's having a new race car, and you know, I think anybody with the Reynard will tell you that it's been tough.
Robbie Gordon is one of IndyCar's hottest properties, though he's still learning his trade. Second of Vancouver, he's contracted to Walker Racing till 1997. He had his moments during the season.
I think it's been a pretty good season. You know, we're 5th in the championship right now. Trying in a race for 3rd, and with a little luck, maybe we could get 3rd.
When Nigel Mansell moves back to Formula One after the race at Laguna Seca, the IndyCar drivers know they're losing not only a fierce opponent, but also a friend from the paddock.
Well, I think Nigel is a shame he's going to Formula One, but I think Formula One needs Nigel more than IndyCar racing now. I mean, they need a charisma, they need a superstar like Nigel there, and I think it would be great for Formula One, and he'll be very competitive in Formula One, no doubt.
Godspeed and a lot of luck over in F1, and show him that that he is a true champion.
He's been a great guy to race against. We've enjoyed racing with him, and maybe we'll go over there and race him someday.
Rookie of the Year in 1994, Jacques Villeneuve, son of the late Gilles. Romantics would love to see him in a Ferrari someday. Jacques achieved his debut win for Forsyth Green at Elkhart Lake.
We had a great chemistry, so I knew we could go well, but on the other hand, I wasn't used to races that long and pit stops, and there were a lot of quick guys that I knew that were going to be quick before the start of the season, so I wasn't really sure, but then it worked out really fine.
36-year-old Raul Boesel has been around IndyCar racing for 9 seasons now, but he's still looking for his first win. The Brazilian will partner Bobby Rahal at Rahal Hogan next year, but it's been an inconsistent 1994.
Some frustrations. We came from a good year last year, a lot of points, and this year we have a lot of mechanical problems, like you say, Michigan, Portland, and a few others, so that keeps us up on the points and keep us from have our first win, our first victory. So it's encouraging one time to see the one side that can be fast and can be on the pace, and it's frustrating the other that to be so close and couldn't get us.
Nigel's media relations in the States have been excellent, appreciated too by the Fleet Street exiles.
What do you think the Indy experience has done for his image in Britain?
I think he's proved to people that he wasn't going to come over here and disappear. I mean, a lot of them may have thought that that would be the case. He could come over here and maybe not get so many good results and maybe disappear off the map. But what he has proved, that Nigel's still around. He's also one of the greatest drivers in the world, and he proved it here by winning the championship, as he did last year. And I think it let everyone know that Nigel wasn't going to go away.
Unlike several other British sportsmen who you can quickly think about, he represents his country very, very well and with a great deal of pride.
There's a feeling that in football at the moment and one or two other sports, people get their money easily. I don't think you could say that Mansell gets his money easily. He gives entertainment. Who else would have gone at the British Grand Prix 2 years ago and put in the quickest lap, 2 laps on the end from winning? But he does it because he enjoys it and he knows the fans enjoy it. I think that's a wonderful attribute for anyone to have.
I don't think they've got over the shock yet of Nigel coming here and wiping them out. And he very nearly did the same thing. If he won Indy 500 as well, I think they'd have deported him.
The Newman Haas PR man, Michael Knight, has never experienced 2 years like it.
You know, I think my favorite memory of all with Nigel was when he won the race in Australia in 1993, and when we were going to the media interview center after the race, it would have been normally a 3 or a 4 minute walk from where we were, and the crowds that surrounded Nigel in the golf cart trying to get over to the interview center, it made it about a 15-minute trip. Matter of fact, about a dozen soldiers from the Australian Army surrounded the golf cart to try to inch his way through this crowd of hundreds of people, and we were using the bullhorn and so forth to try to make room, and I was standing on the back of the golf cart watching this whole scene, and I said to myself, I think this is what it must have been like when Elvis was king.
Prior to the last race of the season, Nigel relaxed at his home in Clearwater. Time for reflection.
Nigel, what is your fondest memory of your time in IndyCar racing?
My fondest memory, I think, really has got to be the first race down in Australia. Having gone to Australia for many times in Formula One and not winning there, to go for the first race, to put it on pole position and to win that race. It's the first time anybody's done that in the history now of the sport. I think that's what's so special.
Purely from the driving side, how will this experience, do you think, benefit you in the future?
I think immensely, really, because, I mean, I spent a number of years, 12, 13 years in Formula One. I've had a couple of years over here with different circuits, different techniques, different cars, certainly different people, and you put everything together in the melting pot, and you can actually come up with something really special. What this has done for me in the last 2 years, especially on the super speedway, on the ovals, you can set the car up in a specific way for a fast corner to benefit yourself from it. And I think maybe I can take a little bit of that back with me to Formula One and perhaps do perhaps an even better job than I did before.
What advice would you give to one of your Formula One colleagues who was thinking about coming over here and taking an IndyCar drive?
Unless they're really serious about it, don't bother, because it's far harder than you think. 1994 has really made a huge impression on me that, what we did in 1993 was very special. Because we have had not a very good year, and I have been with one of the best teams, but we just haven't really got the ingredients right this year. We just haven't got the combinations right. It would be fair to say that we've had an element against us this year, which is called luck, and you make your luck, and then, you're unlucky at times. And last year we were very lucky at a number of races, and this year it's all gone against us.
A few thoughts, Nigel, on some of the people you've worked closely with over the last 2 years, starting, of course, with Paul Newman.
Well, what can you say? I mean, Paul Newman is a legend in his own time, and the charisma of the man, the professionalism of the man. And what I liked about Paul the most is how genuine he is, how down to earth, and thoroughly enjoyed working for him, with him. And, I'm pleased to say that we're very good friends.
On some occasions, the car hasn't really been up to the task, and he's a real driver because he carries the car, and that's the real measure of it.
As you're a driver yourself, what do you see as his strength?
Well, he has an extraordinary instinct in traffic, for one thing, and he's extremely accurate with his setup. I'm just sorry that this year the Penske car was really superior, but next year is next year. We're going to miss him.
On a personal level, will you miss him?
We're going to miss him a lot, yes.
And of course Carl has. I mean, again, what a track record Carl's had with winning many formulas over the years, forming his own team many years ago, trying his hand in Formula One. I mean, he's got a good pedigree and a very, very true to his word man. I get on with him very, very well.
This 94 has been a disappointing season. I think it probably looks different from the outside and from the inside because there's many races he could have won. And circumstance has just prevented it for whatever reason. We're leaving on very good terms, and I wish him the very best.
What about Jim McGee, Nigel? What part did he play in your success?
Oh, Jim McGee played a very, very big part in the championship last year and, you know, our sanity this year, I think. G is an incredible professional. I think he's won something like over 50 races and 9 championships in his career. But perfect gentleman and thoroughbred professional.
Nigel's been around racing as long as I have. I've been around a little bit longer, but you have the years where things seem to fall in place, and there's other years when, you know, you just have all kinds of incidents, whether it's crashes or flat tires or people spinning in front of you or, you know, little foolish things. But, you know, throughout it all, I think Nigel has been totally a pleasure, absolutely professional, and probably the greatest driver I've ever worked with.
Let's send a message back to the folks in Formula One who perhaps wonder whether Nigel is as quick as he was when he first joined you. Is he?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been a little bit behind in the cars this year. We've had opportunities to win some races, and we just didn't capitalize on them. But, you know, all in all, I think that I thoroughly enjoyed this season as much as last. And, you know, it's just, I think if you ask the rest of the team, the crew, everybody involved with Nigel, there isn't anybody that can't say enough about how professional he's been and what a gentleman.
You've been very close to your mechanics, your boys, as you call them, and one of them, Norm, he's managed to be probably the only person who's ever taken money off you with a bet. How close did you get to those guys?
Very close. You know, the thing is, which is the biggest compliment I can give to them, is that you could transport most of them, if not all of them, straight across to a top Formula One team, and you wouldn't know the difference. You know, because that's how professional they are, the enthusiasm. They're thoroughbred racers through and through, and whatever it takes to get the job done, whatever hours they've got to put in, they do it. And I feel very, very comfortable indeed having all those guys on my car.
He is by far the most talented athlete I've ever worked with that's a racing driver. Everything he does is easy. Driving a racing car is easy. Picking up a golf club is easy. Picking up a soccer ball is easy. He played around with softball last year. There was some free hitting at Mid-Ohio last year, and he hit the thing a mile. He's just incredibly fast. He's a very good tester, very good at relating exactly what's going on with a car, and he doesn't hang around. And you can always tell if you've made a change and it's better, you go faster. It's black and white with him. There's no gray. That probably maybe sums him up, but that's anyway. It's black and white.
He's world class, and you know, he's just been great to work with.
In the paddock at Nazareth, the moment of truth. How much had Norm lost in pounds and Nigel in dollars?
Talk about this now. You know, we don't talk about it now. Paul's here. He wants to know.
My spaghetti sauce.
Did you not know?
Yeah, Nigel makes work fun, and making the money, that made it even twice as fun. I got nothing but good things to say about Nigel. Missing him is going to be an understatement.
Oh, he's really the easiest guy I ever worked for. Very satisfying.
He's very intelligent. He can come in and tell you exactly what the car is doing. Some guys kind of round off the corners, so to speak, and don't give you a very accurate description. He can come in and tell you exactly what's going on.
He's a consummate gentleman. He's treated the guys here fantastic. I'm going to miss him a lot.
Sad to see him go, but wish him well back over in Formula One.
It's been a pleasure working with him for the past 2 years, and I wish him nothing but success in his future ventures.
You know, I've worked with the Voights and
the Andretti's, and all of them. And he's the best I've ever been around, or I'm proud to even be associated with him.
Jack, is there anything in particular you've learned from Nigel?
Yes, there is. How to make a decent cup of hot tea, and I even enjoy it myself now.
Seems to have an ability to do things that just by sheer will, even when the car may not be perfect, he just seems to be able to call up some sort of reserve and accomplish anything that he wants. So it's pretty amazing.
I'm very unhappy that he's leaving. I'd like to keep him for as many years as he'd like to drive.
He's a natural. He just attracts people, and his kindness and his understanding and everything that you look for in a professional. I mean, everything that means racing.
On a personal level, will you miss him? Not working with him
I
anymore?
can't talk now.
Why, you going to start crying? Oh, not another one.
So, soon it's back to the future. From Newman Haas to Williams-Renault. Williams topped the Constructors' Championship. Damon Hill is going for the driver's title. Exciting times ahead.
How is the Nigel Mansell who returns to a Formula One cockpit different from the man who won the 1992 World Championship?
Well, in several ways. I mean, one definitely a little bit older. But I'd say with more maturity, with a little bit more patience, with greater understanding. And the thing is, which is very good, is that there's not too many things I don't know with regards to racing. We know what's coming, we know most of the people, we know the circuits. So therefore, you know, your comfort zone's already there and in place. You haven't sort of got to start all over again. What you've got to do is relearn the latest aerodynamics of the car, the feedback that the car has now with the different regulations. The tyres are smaller. The engines are going to be scaled down a little bit next year. There's all those kinds of things that you've got to stick in your personal computer and get all those feelings so you can actually put the car on the edge. Because the difference between a great driver and a quick driver is that, you know, a quick driver can put it on the edge, but it won't be consistent. Whereas a great driver can always go to the edge of the envelope and be safe without having accidents. You know, there's a lot of people which are around that are quick, but they're always going to fall off or have accidents or whatever. And there's not too many people, and Michael Schumacher at the moment is the greatest example. He can put his car out there on the edge and be quicker than anyone else and do the job.
Nigel, you already have 30 Grand Prix wins, you've won a World Championship, and you're third in the all-time points standings. How much more do you want to achieve in Grand Prix racing?
I'd like at least another one championship. I'd like another World Championship. I'd like two, if possible. But I think short term, I want to compete at the highest level. I want to be able to compete. I want to be able to win. And if you win enough, the championship comes. And if I didn't want to do that, I wouldn't be doing it. And it's a very good question, because I'm going to elaborate a little bit and say, the thing that I find very tiresome is people saying, well, you know, he's only doing it for this or he's doing it for that. It's total nonsense. You only do this game because you want to do it for the right reasons, if you're at the top. If you're not at the top and you haven't won, right, I can understand perhaps somebody saying, well, why is someone doing it? They haven't won yet. But, you know, we've won, and we've won regularly, we've won championships, and, you know, I'm doing it to win another championship.
Next week, we'll be down the corkscrew at Laguna Seca for Nigel's final IndyCar appearance, signing off a brief but glorious interlude in his driving career.